previously during the investigation.
These puppies are making me go to another town in the boondocks again.
I didn't think you'd keep me waiting in the rain for so long.
Welcome to Greenvale. I'm the sheriff, George Woodman. Call me George.
There's definitely something in this town. Do you feel it, Zach? My coffee warned me about it.
Welcome back. This is my episode. This is episode 6 of my playthrough of Deadly Premonition. Last time we left off, we had just met our good friends, George and Emily, at the sheriff's department. We'd also met freckled Fiona. Of course, York has to admire Emily every time he sees her. Right now, we have to meet with Usha, the doctor. Usha Johnson is presumably the lead doctor here. He's also heads up the autopsies at the hospital. And he's a pretty interesting character. This main room right here, you can see it's really clear, it's really nice looking. But when we enter through the store, it gets kind of hazy and takes on a bit of a greenish tint. I'm not sure why this part of the hospital does that, but basically anywhere outside the main lobby will do this fairly poor quality look to it. Now, before we head over to the computer room, let's go ahead and explore this section of the hospital. That stretcher back there, the rolling bed, if you run alongside of it, it'll slide alongside York. So I do use this a couple times, but it doesn't have that much tactical impact.
We couldn't find him.
Fiona needs to check her information.
No, I don't think so. Does the doctor like playing games by any chance?
What do you mean?
There's a message on the computer, and a card key already set in place. The king passes the rook and meets the bishop. The knight takes a pawn along for the queen.
What does that all mean?
It's a simple puzzle.
Zach, let's take him up on his challenge. You can do this, right?
Yes, we can do this, York. It's really just simple as king, rook, bishop, knight, pawn, queen. Just in the order they're named, not any sort of wordplay or anything like that. It's really just that simple. And we win. Checkmate.
The doctor awaits below with the deceased.
Another code? But there's nowhere to insert a password.
More games. I'm going to get Fiona to call Usha up here right now.
No need, George. The message appeared with the card key. It's telling us where to use it.
This is not the time to be joking around, Agent Morgan.
Dr. Usha is below with the deceased. With Anna. Below being underground, I take it. Simple. Simple. Then it's time to meet the mischievous architect of this little game.
And we got the card key to the underground floor. This will allow us to enter the locked basement in the other muddled part of the hospital. Now, George and Emily are coming with us, but they're just going to stay there. There's no reason for them to follow us right now. But they will be there in the next scene, so I guess they sort of teleport over. It seems to be only the hub that has a really good look to it, because once we enter the door here, again, it's hazy, it is greenish, which is a bit of foreshadowing. I just displayed how you can make the beds roll alongside you. One thing to notice about this hall, in the hospital, is how it's sort of at odd angles. They're not at good right straight angles like you'd expect a hospital to be, or really any building. Instead they have these weird diagonal lines. Let's swipe the key and enter into the locked portion of the basement. We can open 2 of the lockers in here. These are where the bodies are. But right now, all we can do is look at them. That's more foreshadowing. Now, Usha's right in the next room, but we can't enter through the door that would lead us right to his room. Instead, we have to exit out and enter in from the correct exit the game wants us to use. Well, entrance the game wants us to use.
Usha, sorry to keep you waiting.
Ah, you made it. Let's get started, shall we?
This is Agent Morgan from the FBI.
Nice to meet you. I'm Usha Johnson, the doctor in this hospital.
FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please call me York. Everyone calls me that.
Very well, Agent York.
Are you a forensic practitioner?
Let's just say I've dealt with corpses before.
That battle of wits, by the way. Did you create that yourself?
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to see if our FBI agent could handle the task.
I see. Well, it was pretty fun.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
We don't have much time. We need those autopsy results.
Next time, try challenging us without obstructing an investigation. You've angered the monarch.
From the onset of rigor mortis, the stiffening of the muscles, the time of death is estimated to be between 20 and 2200 hours. That's still quite early for such a crime to take place. Note that there are 2 exterior wounds, pressure marks around the neck, and a long cut running from chest to abdomen. Blood marks on her right hand tell us she was something around. Her skull is also fractured, but that is unrelated to the cause of death. It probably happened to her after she was killed. Now, I first thought death by suffocation, due to the marks on her neck. But after further investigation, I now have a different conclusion. The direct cause of death was loss of blood from a wound.
Which means...
She was cut up while she was still alive.
Yes, a sharp knife was used. It was inserted beneath the sternum and then quickly sliced downwards. The excessive loss of blood from her internal organs is what actually killed her. Her nails are clean, and with no skin cells from the attacker. She also doesn't appear to have been bound nor badly beaten. She was apparently killed without resistance. The most tragic thing, however, was that she was unable to speak her story to anyone who could hear her cries.
The perpetrator cut out Anna's tongue.
Well, I believe she was drugged first to phase her consciousness, and then the killer killed her. Now, the killer most likely has a deep, traumatized past concerning women. He probably cannot converse with them normally. Cutting out the tongue suggests a very lonely individual. Either that, or a truly hardcore sadist. He must get off on watching women suffer, especially when they can't answer back. Man, he watched as the blood pumped from her body, as she gradually grew cold. A case in Seattle in 1985 was much like...
Usha, please, limit your report to your findings as a doctor. Criminal profiling is my job. You're wrong, also. Anna died fully, deeply, painfully aware of what was happening to her.
But,
Tell me, what time did it stop raining on the night Anna was killed?
Just before I went to bed, right after the movie on TV ended, so around 1 a.m.
What movie was it?
An American Werewolf in London.
Directed by John Landis, 1981. So the rain stopped, accompanied by the ending song, Blue Moon. George, would you mind if I examined Anna myself?
What more do you hope to find?
I'm sure I mentioned that I have a personal interest in cases like these.
Let's do our own little investigation. Now, remember earlier when I suggested that York was kind of a genius? Well, he's more than just a silly guy. And really, this is the first part of the game that actually shows off how intelligent and how badass he is. So, I'm just gonna be quiet and let y'all watch on as York examines the body. Loading screen. You can tell something great is about to happen. Brace for awesome.
From her lack of resistance, I'd say that Anna's injuries happened very quickly. Unable to speak, she was then left to cry herself to death.
Zach, it's all starting to come together.
The perpetrator stayed with her for at least 2 hours until it stopped raining. At the estimated time of her death, it was still raining, but you can still see tear marks on her cheeks. That means she was killed under a roof somewhere. She was then carried into the woods after it stopped raining.
There's one other thing. Her tongue was removed with a very blunt knife. In fact, it's more likely it was simply chopped off.
Asha, are you a passionate man?
Well, not particularly, but I am man enough should the moment call for it.
George, how about you?
I'm very passionate. Yes. Especially when it comes to women. But I don't see what that has to do with anything.
George, the perpetrator is just like you. He's passionate about women. He's a passionate kisser. This was a kiss of death.
The perpetrator bit off Anna's tongue.
We'll never get a dental print from a wound like this. But this is still a big lead.
Jackpot, Zach. A shame, but our old-time all-American sightseeing tour just came to an end.
This case is now under the jurisdiction of the FBI. I'm assuming command. I'll need you to assist me in the investigation.
What in the hell do you mean, Agent Morgan? I know I said I was passionate, but you can't think I did this.
That's not why I'm assuming command, George. You're a suspect just as much as every other passionate man on Earth. Let me show you something. There you go. Amazing, huh? I'm sure you have a lot of questions, but most of the details are top secret. George, Emily, we should be going. No need to stay here any longer.
Okay. I have to sign the release. Just give me a moment.
Very well. I'll go on ahead. I can't take it any longer down here. Bishop takes queen. His rook takes your queen. Then your knight takes rook. And checkmate.
Huh?
My first victory in the Grandmaster ranking.
And that brings us to the end of our 6th episode of Deadly Premonition. So stay tuned, thanks for watching, and have a good day.
Zach, they're here.